Hey guys, this is Jensen here once again. With the Casper Cup and the Master Cup starting sometime in the immediate near future, I decided it might be time to take a look at what the 2021 meta be looking like, given what has been happening in the previous year and the big changes that has happened in the preseason thus far. Now, to get things started off, let's take a look at how won the 2020 World Championship. They did so by playing a jungle-centric Drake stacking composition that involved them either drafting for priority lanes to facilitate a jungler to be able to create leads over the opponent jungler and stack multiple Drakes for themselves, or drafting for skilling team fighting to ensure that they are able to win the 5v5s in order to secure the soul point. This has been a result mostly of ganking junglers being easily punished, as their ganking options are limited. Should a ganking jungler look for a tree camp into a side lane gank, they would be easily punished by a counter jungling move, and with no catch-up EXP, you would see the opponent jungler very quickly snowball ahead of them. The other big change that happened in the season 10 itself was that soul point became a thing. With the elemental drakes, if you collected 4 of them, having the soul available as a win condition for a team, a win condition was able to be forced as early as 20 to 22 minutes. And with this early of a win condition possibly being forced, core carries might only have close to completing 2 items and are only about level 13 at this point of time in the game. As a result, AD carries and mid laners that require multiple core items to be effective as carries, they generally lacked impact for a majority of the faster pace of the 2020 season. Thus, champions despite the one item tended to dominate the mid game, such as the Graves and Lilia, which were able to purchase a very cost-efficient Runic Echoes or Warrior Enchantment. So the meta for 2021, it should continue to remain rather jungle-centric, as neither the way the soul stacking of Drakes has changed, nor the jungle EXP has been affected either thus far. But it's still important to consider the item reworks that has been the biggest change to the 2021 season, with mythic items being a big new change, and the way jungler items changing as well. The old runic echoes as well as war enchantment have been removed. Let's examine these a little bit further. For the runic echoes, this used to cost a total of 2,500 gold for an extremely cost-efficient item, giving you 80 AP, 10% CDR, about 300 mana, and the Ludin Echoes passive, or rather a modified version of it, that dealt about 70 damage upon completion of this item. The new items are significantly more expensive at 900 gold, and Everfrost and Liandry's are seemingly the two options at this point of time, giving you the same amount of AP, some form of ability haste, and what seems to be the big changes here is Everfrost giving some additional bonus HP, with both giving 300 additional mana and some bonus effects as well. And this can be calculated to be about an additional 50 damage per proc spell if you press the active for the Everfrost or you apply the damage over time from the Lion Trees. So for the AP side of things, there has been a significant cost increase. However, the amount of power that these junglers get access to has not, stats-wise in terms of raw numbers, been necessarily very significant. However, for the AD side of things, the old Warrior Enchantment costs a total of 2,600 gold, around there, and give you 60, 80, 10% CDR, and no active or bonus passive. Well, there are a whole bunch of items that 80 type junglers can go for. Gale Force as well as Gordrinker seem to be the most popular ones. Gale Force being picked up by the likes of Kindred and Graves, while Gordrinker is being picked up by the likes of Kayn and Olaf, and possibly Lee Sin as well. Now, both of these two items will give the jungler an access to an active, as well as some bonus stats on top of that. In the case of Gale Force, you get some bonus attack speed and crit, but the big bonus here is effectively having a free flash for additional amount of money they spend on it. And similarly for the Gore Drinker, being a mythic item, the active on it enables you to do additional damage and remain very tanky in team fights as well, in conjunction with the percentage missing HP passive that the item affords you. But most crucially, the non-exclusivity of these core carry items means that laners will have access to these spikes too. Previously, the jungler having access to such a cost-efficient item would usually mean that they would have access to this spike before the laners were able to access it, and they would be able to use that to impact and influence the map greatly. However, things will now be more synced up, and with the way that laners tend to get more gold in general, it might even be possible that the junglers are a short step behind what some of the solo laners might be able to afford. So thus we might see some lane-centric carry strategies. Well, unless we're talking about the AD carries, who, with the change to crit itemizations, continue to require 2 or even 3 items to be relevant in the game. Now, the question here is who can outcarry the junglers? In 2020, you could make an argument that Zoe and Jace were decently strong at number 1 item, but more often than not, this would be arguably to be complementary towards the junglers rather than being able to outcarry the likes of what the Graves, Kindred, or Lilla were able to provide in the jungle. However, when you did reach 2 items around the 4th Drake, the likes of Asriel, Orianna, and Ornn did give you a scaling teamfight options for the rest of the team composition to take over, the limited range of the likes of a Graves and Lilia. Moving to the next new season, with the way that the items are now synced up, it is possible that the trio of Sinner champions might see a resurgence in general. However, with Drake stacking being a priority, my guess is that we would see these champions be played in the mid lane instead, possibly, as a means of being able to assess the one item spike and contest the second or third dragon with it. Similarly, any mid lane champion that's able to buy the rocket belt would then be able to sync up their spikes similar to what the jungle is able to afford. And with the likes of Galio, Twisted Fate is something that we've seen quite a fair bit of. Nico is the sleeper brick that we might be looking at for the 2021 season. And naturally, the same champions that were strong in 2020 at 2 items would carry over to 2021 as well, with the latest addition of 200 years of champion design in the form of Samira. With her going for a mortal shield bow and some form of lifesteal, she is definitely a champion that can effectively be a massive team fighting carry, even at 1 or perhaps at 1, but definitely at 2 items, if played around correctly. And that wraps it up for the 2021 meta. What's new? The item changes, and the way that the item timings have been synced up. If you enjoy this type of analytical League of Legends content, please do consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and dropping this video a like. With that, this is Jensen. I hope you've had a nice day and enjoy the rest of the off season and the Casper Cup and the Master Cup games.